Today on the channel, we ask a truly philosophical question. How does a sneaker named after an old tennis player released over 30 years ago end up on the soles of every Instagram model in 2019? Okay, alright, maybe not a philosophical question, but a damn good question. To truly understand the legacy of the Adidas Stan Smith, we have to go back, way back to the shoe's original name, the Adidas Robert Haillet. Adidas produced its first tennis shoe in the early 1960s. Up until that point, Adidas was mainly known for its spike-tracked running shoes. The brand started to develop a revolutionary product for the booming world of tennis. At the time, athletes were primarily hitting the tennis courts in canvas shoes. Similar things were going on in basketball during that era. For example, basketball players in that era were playing in Converse Chuck Taylors, until finally being replaced with the leather Adidas Superstar. Adidas wanted to do something similar with their tennis footwear as well. The German footwear company managed to successfully deliver the first ever leather tennis shoe. In 1965, Adidas endorsed an emerging French tennis star by the name of Robert Haillet. The shoe had a timely debut that coincided with the rise in popularity in tennis. This was thanks to a change in tennis regulations. Major tournaments like Wimbledon agreed to allow pro tennis players to compete with amateurs. This era in tennis is commonly referred to as the Open Era. Since most tennis athletes back then were playing in canvas shoes, the leather on the early models of the Robert Haillet stood out from the rest. The shoes were adored by tennis players all over the world. The leather exterior provided more support, prevented rolled ankles, and reduced the likelihood of other injuries. The shoe would be distributed under the name Robert Haillet until 1971, when the French tennis star retired. Adidas swiftly began looking for an active tennis pro to endorse the updated version of the shoe. Stan Smith's agent at the time was none other than Donald Dell, arguably the biggest tennis agent in the industry. He suggested to Adidas that they endorse his American client, Stan Smith. Smith was a rising star in the tennis world who had recently won the ATP World Championships in 1970 and 2 years later won Wimbledon. Calm, cool, and collected and barely registering any emotion on the court, Smith would go on to win 37 career single titles and 53 double crowns. He was ranked number 1 in the world in 1972, winning 9 titles that season. He was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1987. Needless to say, Stan Smith was a tennis ace. Stan Smith was previously playing in canvas Uni-Royal tennis shoes. Uni-Royal was an American company that had contracted Smith to be a part of their tennis team, but they never gave him a signature model. Here, Adidas presented Stan Smith with an enticing deal: big endorsement money, a signature shoe, and global marketing opportunities. With this alluring deal in front of him, Stan Smith agreed to sign with Adidas. This was way back in 1971. Why has this simple sneaker stood the test of time? Well, I think the simplicity of the design is what gives it its longevity. The sleek yet plain design has sustained its popularity over the span of many decades. The silhouette is covered in a gorgeous white leather, with the only real color being the green heel tab with the classic trefoil logo. It also features a herringbone sole that is designed for use on clay courts. The OG version of the shoe has a thin tongue with the portrait of Stan Smith accompanied by his signature. One thing you'll notice about the Stan Smith is that there is literally no 3-stripe branding anywhere to be seen on the shoe. The perforated holes on the side are lined in 3s, which I believe hints at the 3-stripe logo that we all know so well. Everyone began to wear Stan Smiths. Even his opponents thought the shoe was great for tennis. In the book Sneaker Wars, Stan Smith talks about the success of the shoe during that era. I got really annoyed the first time I lost a match against the guy who was wearing my shoes. Check out this photo of John Lennon in the 1970s rocking a pair of black Stan Smiths. All throughout the 1980s, sneaker technology was rapidly advancing. The decade saw the first woman-specific performance shoe with the Reebok Freestyle. Michael Jordan's partnership with Nike was just starting, and the invention of most of today's running shoe technology was beginning to blossom. Naturally, Stan Smiths began to lose popularity as performance shoes. However, the shoe was prospering outside of sportswear as a casual, fashionable sneaker. By 1988, about 22 million pairs of the Stan Smith had been sold, with that number eventually hitting 23.7 million by 1994. And by the 2000s, the shoe was already considered a classic among fashion-savvy people. The shoe began to peak around 2011, when influential fashion designer Phoebe Philo was spotted wearing a pair of Stan Smiths during her 2011 fall-winter fashion show. High fashion retailers like Nordstrom and J. Crew began stocking the shoe on their shelves at an affordable price. It quickly became one of the most important sneakers in fashion, Back then, you could have easily found a pair at Ross or Marshalls or other discount retailers. Then suddenly, Adidas decided to pull the shoe off the market in 2012, leaving consumers shocked with the impression that it was a permanent removal. By 2013, Stan Smiths were impossible to find brand new, and customers were angry. While this may sound counterintuitive, Adidas knew exactly what they were doing. By removing the shoe from the market, Adidas created a need. People had to wait for the shoe to be re-released, and when it eventually was, the shoe would have a massive comeback. In 2014, Adidas re-released the Stan Smiths to much success, sending personalized pairs to major influencers in culture like Pharrell Williams and Ellen DeGeneres. To promote the shoe's return, Adidas' bold marketing strategy paid off. The forced absence of the Stan Smith made the customers' hearts grow even fonder for the shoe. Now the shoe was finally getting the hype it truly deserved. The following years would see dozens of different colorways, a collab with Raf Simons, and even technology updates like a boost sole and prime knit uppers. The ripple effect of celebrities, fashion people, buzzy collaborations, and cultural street cred has made the shoe iconic. Let's be honest though, unlike most highly sought after silhouettes, this shoe doesn't rely on hype and limited product runs to generate interest. The Adidas Stan Smith may be Adidas' most famous sneaker design of all time. It's certainly one of the most easily recognizable. And of course, it's one of the simplest. It has sold over 50 million pairs, and that number will continue to grow, no doubt. I don't know about you, but learning about the history of this makes me want to go out and cop me a pair ASAP. If you're interested in getting a pair for yourself, please do check out the links I've conveniently placed in the description box for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. We love reading every single comment and hearing what you guys think. It would mean the world to us if you subscribe to our channel. You guys are amazing. We'll see you on the next one and have a great day.